So parents have needs too. So as much as our artistic children have so many needs, and that's so much of what parents are struggling for to provide for our children's needs. Parents have needs too. So today we're going to talk about the needs of parents who have autistic children. Okay? These parents need more than just survival. Okay? So many parents talk about the frustrations and the overwhelm and how much they have to overcome just to get through the day, just to make ends meet, just to be able to care for their child with autism. Let's talk about what they need beyond just surviving parenting a child or children with autism, okay? The first thing they need are clear answers, okay? And this is an extensive list. I think I have, this is a list of 20 things, 20, okay, 20. So let's get through it quickly. The first thing they need is clear answers, a real explanation for why their child is struggling, not just labels or vague diagnoses. So many people, so many parents are being told, like, I mean, this is just part of the diagnosis. It's not clear. Why is my child stemming? Why is my child banging their head on the wall? Why won't my child eat? Why won't my child? They don't have clear answers. Too many parents don't know. And the reason why they don't know is because the doctor doesn't know. The behavioral specialist doesn't know. The teacher doesn't. Nobody knows. Okay? And parents just need to know. If they don't know, they can't help their child if they don't know, right? Second thing that they need to understand their child better, which is why they need to know, which is why they need clear answers. An understanding of their child's feelings and emotions so that they can identify with them in order to help them. Sometimes it's not about behaviors as much as it's about identifying with their child so at least they can have the empathy. Parents want to do more than just feel sorry for their child. They want to be able to understand their child better. You know what I mean? Third, parents need someone to walk with them. Walk with them and walk them through the process. A lot of times teachers and the medical staff, they don't walk them through the process. They give them advice. They give them suggestions, right? A lot of parents, most parents, need a what's next coach to answer questions along the way. It's like they do the thing that they were told to do and then something new pops up and they're like, I don't know what to do with this. So they need someone to help them through the journey, right? Fourth, an early and accurate diagnosis. There are too many parents who are like, I'm seeing my son or daughter exhibiting these behaviors. What do I do? And whoever they told, their pediatrician, whomever, they're like, let's wait and see. Like nobody gives a clear cut, early, accurate, or at first the diagnosis, wow, for a while we just thought it was ADHD. For a while we thought it was just, behavioral issues. For a while, it's not clear and accurate. You know what I mean? So that's what parents need. An assessment process that's fast, affordable, not full of red tape. Well, yeah, you can sign up for this, but you're going to be on the waiting list, Therapy and services that actually work are individualized and not cookie cutter. Fast, accurate, and clear. That's what parents need, okay? Next, real inclusion and not just integration. Yeah, the school system is designed to integrate and not really include students. Schools and programs where their child is seen, supported, and celebrated and not just placed in a room. So that's what's happening. They'll include they or should I say, yeah, they'll include the kid in the classroom, but they're not really included in the classroom. They'll integrate them. They'll seat them in the back or on the side, but they're not really part of the classroom, even though they're in the classroom. So the one school that my son went to, they let me tell you this. At first, whenever he was little, they his classroom was a special needs classroom, and they had his their own separate lunch. Whenever the first school that he went to in a generalized education school, they had a special needs class, and so they had their own special needs lunch. I was glad about it. He was young. I think this by this time he was in middle school, and middle school kids are horrible, right? They're just bullies. They're whatever. And so I didn't want his class. He was maybe 9 or 10, and I didn't want his special needs class in with the generalized middle school kids. I didn't want them to treat them different. Okay. But by the time he got to high school, he went to a regular high school here in Atlanta, and they incorporated. They include. It was an included, class. And they taught the generalized education kids how to include them. So they ate lunch among the other kids, and they didn't bully them. They included them, which, you know what I mean? That's what we want. We don't want them as like them over there and us over here. We want our kids to be incorporated, right? A voice at the table. Parents need a voice at the table. What does that mean? To be heard, respected, and believed by educators, therapists, and medical professionals. We talked about this a little bit yesterday about how parents will come to the meeting, and school officials and professionals want to just kind of make all the decisions because they're professionals, and parents will say whatever, but for the most part they're like, well, this is what we think is best for your child, and parents are expected to just go along with it. No, we want a voice at the table. This is my child. I'm their advocate. I'm their decision maker, not you. Okay? Next, parents want to feel like they're not being isolated and misunderstood. They want to be heard, and they want to be, believed by friends and family members as well. Okay? So, I mean, they want to be heard and respected and believed by educators, therapists, and medical professionals, but also heard and respected and believed by friends and family members. You know what I mean? Whenever you go to your child's, school in every place, and you're not being heard and respected, and then you go into your circle of friends and family and church members, and you're still not heard and respected, you feel isolated as a parent, because everywhere you turn, nobody understands you, nobody believes you, you're being judged by everybody. What kind of parent are you? Your child is this, your child is that. Nobody. Yeah, that's what parents need. Parents need consistent emotional support, a safe space to express fear, guilt, frustration, and exhaustion without judgment. And it's one thing to get it from other parents, but we want to be able to express that, and allow people to let us be who we are in that space. Um, Confession. I never got into those group chats and group communities for people with autism, the parents with children with autism, until now. And the only reason why I'm in it now is to see what other parents are going through, right? But I didn't do it even up until now, over the last 20 years, because I felt like it was a space where parents just complained. Nobody was really looking for real answers. And I didn't want to be in a place where I was surrounded by a bunch of complainers. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be in a place where people were selling. people were not celebrating milestones, where people weren't really looking for improvement on themselves as parents or even for their kids. They were just wallowing in their own sadness. And to me, it was like super negative. And so it's one thing for to be in a group where parents understand that parenting journey, but it's another thing to be able to be in a space where you're encouraged by people who, at least, even if they're not on the same journey, where you can be encouraged. Does that make sense? Yeah. Consistent physical support. It's one thing to have consistent emotional support, but we also need consistent physical support. A safe person that can step in and care for their child like they would their own. Somebody, whenever you feel overwhelmed, whenever you need a break, whenever you need to step out and have a day to yourself or a day with girlfriends, and you need someone to step into your household and take care of things, and you can leave with knowing that someone is going to be able to handle what's going on in your house. That's great physical support. You know what I mean? Um, there are parents who don't feel comfortable leaving anybody with their kids or their household because they don't know what they're going to come back to. You know what I mean? They know that their child with autism, they don't know how things will go. They might want to leave their mom or their auntie, someone who's willing to step in, and then an hour after they leave the house, they're getting phone calls like, I don't know what's going on, and this, that. Remember, this just popped into my head. Remember on The Incredibles, when Mrs. Incredible, I'm so silly, I'm sorry. Remember when Mrs. Incredible called Kari the babysitter, and Jack was setting stuff on fire and everything? Mrs. Incredible was like, what's happening now? What's going on? And she was like, oh my gosh, the house is on fire. That's how some parents with children with autism feel. They're like, listen, I better stay at home because I don't want to leave anybody. You know what I mean? We need consistent physical support. Yeah. Next, hope for the future. We need hope for the future. A real plan and belief that their child can thrive in school, at work, in relationships, in real life. Okay? We want parents with children with autism. We want the same thing for our child that other people want for their kids. We do. Of course we do. Right? We want to see our children progress. We want to see them get better. We want them to achieve whatever they want to achieve, right? We need that, right? What else do they need? Practical tools for daily life. Practical tools. Strategies that help with meltdowns, transitions, communication, sleep, and more. Not just theory. Doctors and behavioral therapists. I mean, did you try this? Did you try that? I don't know. Did you try taking their tablet? Maybe it's too much TV time. Stop telling me all this all the maybes. Do you understand that parents, all the stuff that you can think up off of the top of your head, parents have already tried that, right? We need real solutions. You know what I mean? We need strategies that actually work. Okay? And we need, again, someone to walk us through it. You know what I mean? Less Google and more guidance. We need to stop guessing and start getting trusted, guided help from people who understand and who know and who have lived through it and who have walked the talk and who have gotten results, positive results. Okay? We need relief from financial strain, affordable care, therapy, and resources without sacrificing their entire income. And this is becoming more and more challenging in this economic climate right now in 2025. Okay? What else do parents need? Time to breathe, rest, relaxation, a moment to themselves without feeling guilty. Yeah. A community that gets it, real connection with other parents who truly understand what they're going through. And I'm in a number of communities, and the culture in each community is different. There are some, there's this one community I'm in. And as soon as somebody, a parent says, hey, this is what's going on, this is what happened, this is how I feel, what should I do? There are other parents that will be like, well, what kind of mother are you? You should have did this. This is your fault. What you need to do is blah, blah, blah. Maybe you shouldn't be so hard, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's terrible. One day, and I pretty much stay quiet in these groups, but this one woman, I felt so bad for her. And I actually commented, and I told her, I said, listen, you're doing the best you can. Here's some advice, and ignore the naysayers, because you came here for help. This should be a safe place for you to ask questions and to get the help that you need. So whenever people are judging you, maybe, they're in the wrong group, and maybe they shouldn't be this, you know what I mean? I was just like, why are you guys? Parents need to be able to have conversations, real conversations about what their reality is without being judged. Yeah. What else do parents need? A way to help their child be understood. Their child needs to feel understood, right? Tools to help others, like teachers, family, and friends, see their child for who they really are. So earlier in this list, I was talking about how parents need to be able to understand their child, but they also need to help others in their circle understand, help, because their child need to be understood. And I can't help my child be understood by others if I don't understand my child. And then that helps, that makes my child feel isolated. And then that could actually increase tantrums, if that makes sense. What else do parents need? To stop feeling like they're failing. Parents need to be reminded that they are doing their best, and that's enough. That doesn't mean there can't be improvement. Their best is enough. But our parenting and us making our journey for our children better is always necessary, because there's always room for improvement, right? Parents need reassurance to know that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. It's going to work out. No need to worry all the time. Parents need a clearer path forward. A clear path. That's the problem. You know how, what is it, the saying that, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Some parents can't see the light. There's fog, there's tree branches, you can't see, you can't see. Autism parents need a clearer path. Sometimes the path is windy, it's a big hill. We need a clear cut path. And last, parents with children with autism need a system that works. If you are able to identify with any of these things on this list, I want you to go to my website to see if I have anything that you might be interested in, anything that might help with any of these things. You can go to TerayWard.com. I will put that link in the chat. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.